Alright, I ain't never been Mr. I Told You So. So with the news of the Chicago ICE raids, I'm still not gonna be that. But from now on, I need y'all to understand, if you are a black African American, if you are just brown or a POC, you are now immediately a target for ICE raids. In case you ain't know, them folks done ran up into an apartment complex in the middle of Chicago, and regardless of how them folks spoke, regardless of where they said they was from, regardless of how they appeared, they got thrown into a van and sent in for questioning. Some folks didn't get out until 3 a.m., and that's for the older elderly women. That means that is an illegal search. That is an illegal arrest, going into your property, search and seizure, and then sending you in for questioning. And if you had a warrant out for your arrest, you're not getting sent back. That is not normal. That is not okay. That is civilly unrest. So with that news now being understood, all the people in Illinois, I'm sure you know by now, but the governor informed everyone to record everything, to narrate everything, to look at badge, and to look out for a badge number and document that too. So for all my African Americans, I need y'all to understand, if them folks come up to you for questioning and they do not give you a badge or a badge number, you do not have to comply. I'm gonna say that again. I'm not telling you what to do, but this is something we've seen in our history. They already sent in national troops to Memphis, so it's quite clear that they are now attempting to police us in very illegal measures. They already got spyware going on and all that. But what's really more important right now for you to understand, there are plenty of resources online, and you need to go into that, look at it, and figure out what to do whenever you are potentially questioned by ICE. Also, what's necessary is if you are someone in a city that you're unfamiliar to, you don't got family there, you don't got anything of the sort, there are plenty of organizations there that are based on immigration advocacy, that are based on African American solidarity, that are based on just being a POC, or regardless of what you identify as. Go to that and make that your community. It's time that all of us, we need to be more caring and more cognizant of each other's existence. Watch out for the next man's back, watch out for the next neighbor's back, and just be a little bit more understanding of everyone around you. Get to know your neighbor if you don't. Get to know their name. You know what I'm saying? It's time that you actively do a little bit more to be paying attention of the safety of your neighborhood. Because right now, what Trump's doing is targeting any major city that is potentially outspoken, and any major city that got black people. And you need to be cognizant of that. Do as much research as you can so you know what to do in case you get questioned. And please, 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 once again, if you see your neighbor potentially at risk, find some people that don't look like ICE agents, but potentially could be a dupe. Make sure it is known that you are there bearing witness, and let that next person know, if they aren't identifying themselves, that they don't have to comply. Just make sure you are safe. It's a lot of grifters out there, it's a lot of bounty hunters, and it's a lot of people out there getting ready to take advantage of the situation. And I'm not trying to fearmonger, but just inform. The illegal arrests and the search and seizures and the lack of warrants going on, that ain't gonna be sustainable. But right now, remaining informed is the best thing you can do, major city or not.
All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off this lesson by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahushai B'Hashem, Rachakadosh, double honors to my elders and apostles, the great millstone, which are the men that rule well and taught us his truth, peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. In the inspiration of this lesson comes from, what you saw in the beginning of the, the beginning clip, that 2-minute video of that TikTok. And there was a few other ones that I also wanted to bring up, but it's pretty much just the same information being repeated, and Jake kind of making light or making jokes of the situation. Jake is like, oh, because, now ICE is in Chicago, which that's just a precursor, man, of things to come. That's something that people might think is, well, actually, it might die down for a little bit, but eventually it'll pick back up, because in our reality, what you saw happening there is a shadow of things to come. That's soon that'll be the reality for the Israelites in America. You see, that's why the title is Jacob's Trouble is Coming. Just to keep it simple. Because, Judah specifically now is saying, hey, all of you Judites, man, they not saying Judah, but they saying black people, right? But they saying, hey, look, even Vic, what's his name? Is it Vic Mensa, the rapper? Even he's making TikToks about it, like, look, we got to stand up. It ain't, because when Northern Kingdom was catching that hell, Judah was like, nah, we sitting this one out. It's not our fight. But Judah is like, nah, it is, because they don't like us either. See, there's enough Israelites with some sense to say, oh, shit, now they coming after all of us. And that's exactly what you see happening, They held elderly until 3 a.m. Now, why is ICE taking people that don't look like the typical Hispanic, so-called, right? Because at the end of the day, This story is old, man. This goes way back to Genesis. This ain't no, Esau, the so-called white man hating the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans goes way back to Genesis. That's not something that just started happening in the 1800s or 1600s. That goes way back, to before we were even nations, to when we were just swimming around in our forefathers, nutsack. Not to be too graphic or not trying to be funny, but it's very true. It goes back to when we were just in the loins of our forefathers. It goes that far back. It's an old story, and I'm just gonna get one precept, because at the end of the day, what's happening now is Esau persecuting Jacob. Esau, the so-called white man, hates us. And I'm going to read, what I'm going to read is pretty much going to summarize how he feels, right? So this is Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing. Boom, I'm going to stop right there. That statement alone, that's the true reason why they hate us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because why are they only coming at us? And I was just, hey, that's the spirit. I was watching the Elder Apostle Tahar's video right a few hours before making this. And because he basically spoke on the exact same thing. And he went into a few other topics. I think it's his most recent video he uploaded. It's like an hour and a half long. Man, he was talking about it as well. He was like, you got to think about it. ICE, they're supposed to gather up the illegals, right? Well, all these Arabs that come here, they're not all legal. All these different nations that come here, all those Moabites that are here, you think they're illegal? No. A lot of those Moabites, to cut back on costs for visas, they will fly out to Mexico and will also use a coyote. If you don't know what that is, look it up, to cross the border. Moab does stuff like that to cut back, because getting a visa, that's expensive. All those, legal ways of getting to America is expensive. They cut a few corners and then make the money here to legally be able to stay, and they do that. So it's not like they're looking for all illegals. No, they're only looking for Israel. They're not looking for nobody else. You don't hear about them arresting illegal Russians, because guess what? They're here. They're here as well. Illegal Germans, illegal Russians, illegal Arabs, illegal Elamites. They exist. They're here too, illegally. But they're not after them. They're after who? The so-called blacks and Hispanics, and even Native Americans, which doesn't make sense to me, because you can't deport them, But nonetheless, Judah's standing up and saying, yo, this happened because this is our fight. And it's very true. It's really of our nation, man. Esau hates us because of the blessing. So what he's gonna do, he's gonna persecute us, right? It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, because we were given a blessing. All right. It says, wherewith his father blessed him. We were given the blessing. And now Esau also was given a blessing, but, we were given the ultimate blessing. You see? So, because at the end of the day, the scriptures say that the Lord, put by Esau, meaning he rejected Esau, right? And it says, and Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Now, this is the mindset that the nation of Esau as well carries. And a lot of them don't know why, but it's in their spirit to just be like, yo, I hate blacks, I hate Hispanics. That's how they feel about us. Just to touch on it real quick, there's the controversy of Bad Bunny performing at which he's a so-called Puerto Rican, he's an Ephraimite. There's a controversy with him performing at the Super Bowl. You got MAGA supporters talking about, we need to deport him. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico was a U.S. territory. You see, these are very uneducated, stupid people, but that's how they feel about us. They hate us, right? Because while Esau was supposed to be mourning for his father, in his mind, he all he could think about is slaying his brother. Okay? And that's the spirit that they come. All of us feel that way. Salakia. All of them feel that way towards us. You see, they hate us. That's why the persecution that's happening now is touching Judah. And that's just a shadow of things to come, man. Soon it's going to be every major city, not just Chicago. I mean, come on, man. Esau, even when he did that raid, even the elderly were taken. That speak English, mind you. Blatantly they know who they were arresting, pretty much, right? And what? They were held till 3 a.m. Hey, guess what? The scriptures speak about how when we left Egypt, they were slaying us, man. Well, they were the first nation to attack us. And guess what? They were slaying the old, the elderly, and the young, man. Esau is merciless. You know? Jacob's trouble is coming, man. Because what? That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna and I'm gonna go into Jacob's trouble in a second, but that's what they're gonna do, man. They're gonna man. It's gonna be a hell of a sight, man. And I always think about whenever I'm, driving around my neighborhood and I see, northern southern kingdom women with their little ones, I'd be thinking like, man, if they're not of the elect, man, they're through. Or I see elderly men walking around, northern or southern kingdom men. I live in a pretty diverse area, so I see both northern and southern kingdom together. And man, I just be thinking like, man, if these people are not covered by the Lord, they're through. An older man or an older woman that walks with a cane, and Esau is in his full strength will attack them. That's the thing. That's how they feel. That's how they feel about us, man. They don't care. They want to kill us. The ICE raid that you saw in Chicago is nothing more than a precursor of what's to come. It's gradualism. All right. It may not be nothing major today or tomorrow, but soon it's going to be at your front door. Next it'll be your building. And it's all a part of prophecy at the end of the day. And we're going to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua to be delivered. So this is Jeremiah 30:4. And these are the words that the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah, meaning the northern and the southern kingdom. So these are the words that the Lord spake concerning the whole nation. So that's how you know this is future tense. This is prophecy. This ain't just a history. This is prophetic. Okay, prophetic. It says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace." Right? So this is something to fear. These are the oracles of the Lord that we ought to read and take heed. So if the Lord is saying that, hey, if what's being said here is we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, not of peace, man, hey, you better get with the Lord. You better get right with the Lord. Right? It says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child," which men don't travail with children. They don't have babies, right? "Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces turned to paleness." Right? So what's being said, what Jeremiah is saying, men don't travail with children, so why do I see every man with his hands on his loins, like how women act when they're, giving birth? And, hey, man, that travail, once I saw it in person for myself, my woman giving birth, right, is when I realized, like, oh, shit. So this is because when a woman is giving birth, she is in excruciating pain, and she's screaming, yelling. You can see it on her face, or, face turning pale, losing blood in her face, all the blood rushing to the heart. You know what I mean? Like, that's what men are going to be. The scriptures say during that time, right? During the day of the Lord, that the mighty men shall cry there bitterly. The mighty men. How much more the average guy? So think about that, and it says all faces turn to paleness, like the saying, "Oh, you look like you've seen a ghost," right? Somebody's face looks pale from fear. That's a real thing. That's the type of evil that's coming for the tribes. But specifically for the wicked now. I don't think that, because you believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you think something bad's going to happen to you. No, this is for those that are wicked. This ain't for every Israelite. Bet every Israelite is going to be here when this happens, but he shall be saved out of it, like the scriptures say. Right? Talking about the elect. It says, "As a woman in travail with child, and all faces are turned to paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Right? So the elect, right, the men, women, and children that are meant to be delivered will be delivered. But it says what? "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble." So that trouble is upon the 12 tribes of Israel, especially here in America, man. And the ICE raids are nothing more than just a shadow of things to come. What happened in Chicago is nothing more than a shadow. It's gradualism. It's a precursor to the evil that's going to be happening. How do we know? I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra 16 and end the lesson, because that's really all we need, man. This is just one. It's one of many, man. You know, I read one in Jeremiah 30. Hey, 2nd Ezra, the 15th and the 16th chapter, you can link it up with Jeremiah 30 as well. You know, the dates. It's also linked to the Salakia. It's past my bedtime, man. I know it's Friday night. I don't work tomorrow. You know, tomorrow I just go do the work of the Lord. You know, I go to sleep early, man. So Salakia, for the yawning bit. You know, yeah, the day of the Lord and you know, Jacob's trouble. Hey, those are all, a time as never was. Those are all synonymous things, man. They all coincide, man. All right. You got Christians out here that believe that there's going to be tribulation and they're just going to be raptured. Nah, man. Everybody's going to be here for that. Everybody's going to see that. You know, even the elect, even the 144 and the believers, they're going to be here for that. You know, the only thing that the elect is not going to see is the missiles, or the only thing the elect is going to escape, really, obviously Jacob's trouble, but, you know, the missiles. Once the missiles hit, that's when the elect won't be here. Okay, 2nd Ezra 16 and 70, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities. Right, in the next cities. Chicago is a major city. It's big, just like New York City. Big like Los Angeles. You know? Like Florida. I said like Florida. Like Miami, right? Major cities, right? What else? Dallas, Houston. You know, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. Those are major cities. You know, the latter ones I mentioned are kind of smaller, but bigger cities. Washington, D.C. As is, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection, which is an uprising, upon those that fear the Lord. Who are those that fear the Lord? Israel. All right? Those that fear the Lord are the believers. The believers and just Israel in general. Israel in general is a God. We're a God-fearing people. So there's going to be an uprising upon the Israelites, right? It says, they shall be like mad men, sparing none. And that what you saw and what you heard about with the ICE raids, that's a small thing. They were just arresting people. Soon, it's going to be men like that in masks running up in buildings, but to straight up slaughter people. Okay? Like in Purge, Election Day. It's going to be just like that. They're going to be just running into houses, just straight killing people. In military outfit. Mercenaries. Men that don't speak English and they know to just come to American soil and just kill. You know? These are the things that's coming. You see? Upon the tribes, man. See, that's the thing. The Lord prophesied it for us to warn the people about it. We were able to decode this through the Holy Spirit to warn you. To get right with Yahweh Shem Yahshua. And that's the Spirit, because I'm going to do a scripture of the day. You know, it's to put not off the Lord from day to day. Because at some point, you're going to have to bank on your faith. At some point, it's only going to be your faith that you're going to rely on. It's not going to be on nothing else. It's not going to be on your money that you saved up from your job and, oh, I'm good. I'm good financially, so I'm good. No, as soon it's going to straight up be money don't matter no more. You on the run because they trying to kill you. Right? And you're not on the run because you some wicked nigga. You're on the run because Esau, it's prophesied that Esau, the enemy, would come in like a flood. See, that's the thing. We're talking about these scriptures. Soon we're going to be living it. Soon we're really going to be relying on our faith. Soon we're going to be living on a prayer for real. Soon we're going to be living in tents. We're going to be living in the wilderness. Some of us. You know? Soon we're going to be crying to the Lord. You know? For real. Okay? They shall be like mad men, sparing none. See, and that's a scary thing, man, because a lot of us that's in the truth, man, a lot of us haven't really experienced violence on that kind of level. You know? We haven't seen people be killed or murdered in front of us. We haven't seen people get shot in the head and blood spilling everywhere and you smell iron. Because when people get hurt like that, when people lose a lot of blood, there's a certain smell in the air. You know, it ain't like in the movies where you just see it and you're like, oh, that's crazy. No, there's a smell, there's a spirit, there's a level of fear and levels of adrenaline that you've never felt before are gonna be running through you. See, those are the things. That's why Yahweh Shem Yahushua has to keep us stable in that time, right? It says they shall be like mad men, sparing none, meaning they're going to try to kill everybody. Bet, still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. So they're going to come after Israel. All right? And like I said, that the situation in Chicago was just a precursor of things to come. Because they're coming after all of us. It ain't just Northern Kingdom. You know, a lot of Judites try to say, oh, that ain't our people, man. We got to sit this one out. Look, man, they after all of us, man. They hate us as a whole. We're all one. We're all one nation. We're all brothers. Yes. We're all, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are all brothers. We all come from the same forefathers. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob name later changed to Israel. Right? For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. And that's exactly what happened with those people in Chicago. They were cast out of their houses. Of course, they were released and things like that. Well, at least the ones that were U.S. citizens, I believe. I don't know. I don't know the whole complete story because... Because, you know, there's a lot of... I don't want to say misinformation, but, you know, there's always gaps in these stories sometimes, you know. But, you know, nonetheless, they let go of those that were American citizens the next day, well, till 3 a.m., right? And it's wild, man. But what? It's going to cast them out of it says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. That's literally going to happen, man. You know, they're going to come to your house and come get you. They're going to take you to a prison camp, all right, and slaughter you, all right? That's why we had to pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Oh, Salakia. Verse 73. Now here's the comfort. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. That's the thing. The chosen won't be touched by those things. Right? Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand. That's the thing. Right now, the days of trouble are at hand. This is being said for us to read now before it happens. We could be days away at this point with the way that they moving now. You know? It could take just one. It could be just one more false flag and boom, fuck it. Trump sends the troops to every major city. That's just Chicago, and Chicago is a war zone. You know, DC ain't what it used to be. You know, compared to the early 2000s, and because I grew up in that era. I didn't grow up in the 90s. I was born in the late 90s, but I grew up in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and from what I heard, even at that time, it was way worse than today. You know, today it's a little. Of course, you got knuckleheads out there acting a damn fool and killing each other, but it ain't as turned as it used. DC ain't as turned as it used to be. So they're just looking for an excuse to be like, nah, we gotta get these guys, right? But what? Then nonetheless, in the major cities, Trump don't care if you're getting down or not, man. He just wants to kill Israel, the Israelites, so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans. Okay. It says, hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, right? Because in that time, that's what you're going to want to feel is fear. But the scriptures say, be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh, in the book of Proverbs. Right? Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Salakia. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Right? So, just to, bring the balance and the comfort during that time, man, even now, don't let your sins weigh you down. Don't let your past sins weigh you down. All right? And don't let your iniquities lift up themselves, meaning strive to do better every day. And we're going to be all right. We're going to escape that evil. All right? Because at the end of the day, there has to be an elect. There has to be a group of people that believe. And we're the ones doing what the elect would do. Lord's will we continue and endure to the end. We're going to be saved. All right? Because, hey, that evil is coming, man. Maybe I can get some clips of actual raids, in the post-production. But nonetheless, that evil is coming. And we have to keep faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Okay? But, hey, nonetheless, that's all I wanted to bring out through the Spirit. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi, B'Hashem Rachakadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, which are the men that rule well and taught us His truth. Peace, blessings, citations, as always, to the elect. Keep the faith, man. We got to keep pushing forward, man. It's almost time to be up on out of here. The Lord going to come get us soon, Lord willing. All right? We got a few more prophecies left, and we out of here. All right? But hey, that's all I want to bring out through Spirit Man Show.